many.
Have you thought about a solution to the demand side? You seem to have thought a little bit about the supply side.
In terms of like who's asking?
Well, I mean, looking back to Kath Brandon's thing and the responses, how you know, how are you going to deal with the demand side?
Yeah, I mean, what you're asking is why are the women asking for the men all the time?
That wasn't my thing.
Well, I mean, are they asking for who they've seen previously at other conferences? And if they are, then it's back into this vicious circle thing. So you need to see more women up there so that you then are requesting them later. I don't know how many conferences actually book plenary speakers based on who their members want to see in such a direct way anyway. But, I mean, Ross, do you have any?
Yeah, I just agree.
Yeah, I think that's really hard. I mean, there are a lot of women in here. Is it men that you want to see standing up here? They're interesting and they're good at what they do. That's right now, shouldn't they?
But I'm sure there are also women who are also very good that we don't see.
Yeah.
So it's about exposure, isn't it?
And that might be where that list of female speakers would be good, because if it actually was something that had little videos and stuff, then maybe. And now that more and more people film their talks, it's more possible for you to see different women.
Can I just throw in the horrible word money? I've worked for 10 years for TESOL France, and I was president for a couple of years. I now work for the conference committee for IATEFL, but as far as TESOL France is concerned, I really hope those statistics are not TESOL France. Anyway, one of the things is money. We're a relatively small teaching association. Don't have an awful lot of money. So what do we have to do? What's our first recourse? We go to the publishers. Publishers say, okay, we're looking for, you know, a major plenary speaker. Can you make some suggestions? Yeah, and with the idea behind that saying, can you also pay for them? Can you cover their costs? Get them to Paris on time?
And sell our books that they wrote.
Right. Yeah. So you know, again with the chicken and egg, the vicious circle, that has a role to play as well. So again, we're back to our top 10 guys, and yes, we have had a few of those.
I charge less than Scott Thorne.
Very good.
But you know, so there is that coming from a smaller association. We're not talking about IATEFL. IATEFL is a whole different ball game, obviously with slightly more money to spend. But for the average teaching association, we are bound by things like that, and you know, that is a big issue for us, and I'm sure it is, as I say, for a lot of other teaching associations as well. Much as we would like to have, we have had Penny Ewer. So I'm beginning to wonder whether those statistics are ours. But you know, money is a big issue, and that, you know, as you say, it's not as complex, it's not as black and white as you know, as that, and that is a major issue.
Can I just say, I just agree with Ross there. I've organised a conference several times, the Image Conference. I've tried to get women speakers, and it's been much more difficult to get sponsorship. The publishers have been much more reluctant. I don't know whether that's coincidence, but they've been much more reluctant to pay to pay for the accommodation, the hotels of female authors than male.
Really?
That's been my experience. That's been my experience. It's been much
Even
more difficult.
publishers.
I don't know. That's just been my experience.
So because does it go back to the names of the authorities?
think
Because
it could be.
it's back to those books.
I think it could well be back to the thing which Ross was saying. Yes, the
I mean,
money
the
issue.
publishers have a big incentive. They want crowds, because they want those crowds to not only attend the plenary session, but also to go to their stands and buy the books.
Yes.
But there's also the argument that, you know, you could say, and I've seen this where I think actually Scott Thornby might have been talking about it last week on the IATEFL group about, you know, it's like students, if they say I want a white speaker or something like that, a white teacher, you know, I want a native speaking white teacher, you know, do you kind of go like, well, okay then, if I have one here, can we come back? Yeah.
I don't really understand your concern with big names and well known, because the names that you have on the list, yes, I mean they are the ones that get invited for various reasons. They're not, they wouldn't feature high on rich lists.
I was going to say the same thing.
For example, they have really very limited power, and they are being used with all due respect, as marketing monkeys. but they aren't actually powerful and they aren't actually rich compared to many, many other names. So why are you focusing on this, and what is the significance of conferences anyway, which are in many ways marketing events anyway?
Because in any industry, what people might want is recognition, and if that route to recognition is not really open to women, then women have fewer options than men do, which I think is what the plenary speaking positions. I mean, some people really want to go off travelling around the world. A couple of years ago, that's probably exactly what I would have wanted. It wouldn't have been open to me. So it's about having choice. And okay, nobody in ELT makes any money apart from the publishers, but for a lot of people, that's not what it's about.
I don't really understand the bias even, so I can understand that individuals might well want to do that. But we're talking about such a kind of narrow representation of the ELT world, which in the way that you've conceptualized it is very much oriented towards teaching of adults. It's private language school oriented, it's native speakerist, it's white, it's all about.
We really tried with that survey to push it out wider. I spammed so many Facebook groups with it, and I tried to like get people in Asia and Arab countries and even America.
But even when you do, you know, the teachers. I mean, I'm involved in the local teachers association. But you look at the representations there. We organise conferences like in TESOL France, but again, it's full of native speakers basically, and private language school teachers, and there is a huge world out there of ELT, which is
absolutely. But I mean, we have limited resources, and we can only do what we can do, and you know that this is what we looked at.
But aren't you in danger then of reinforcing that particular conceptualisation of ELT as a native speaker, as private language school world by doing this?
IATEFL reinforces that.
Yes, it does.
So
yeah.
That's where we are. But yeah, we did think that when we were doing it. But I think who attends most of these kind of events? Who is active in that discussion? Who is on social media? The world as it exists that we can kind of access publicly is this one. So if you want to be able to get up to the top in that profession, in that circle, then you know I have less opportunities than you do.
Well, perhaps it has to do with role models as well. Like if you have more role models that are out there for women, that their pathway seems clearer.
Yes.
I think then it's, I can strive to do that.
Yeah.
Especially with the younger people coming in.
Yeah, and so the way to do that is to have those people be more visible, isn't it?
I mean, something I often wonder about is why do we have plenaries, actually?
Yeah.
At a conference, you know, there's a sense that there's going to be a big person standing out there and doing the most important talk of the conference. And actually, I've been to many conferences where the most stimulating things I've heard were not in the plenary by a long way. And actually the most interesting things have been encounters in smaller rooms with other people.
Sure.
And do you have to have plenaries?
Look at it as morning assembly.
Surely you have to have plenaries to get the sponsorship to run the conference.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the exhibition hall, isn't it?
Depends on the conference.
Yeah, but the exhibition hall is connected to the plenary system, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
I think that could change. There are other ways of making money out of publishing.
Yeah, well, I think that wraps it up, and it is the end of the slot, isn't it? Back
Thanks very much. Semi-good myself.